Welcome to another Unexplained Cases Live. We've got Rick Garner, Darren Dido, Maryam the Medium, and our special guest, Kendall Whelpton. Welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm excited about this.
Oh,
awesome. Go ahead. I was going to say, go ahead, Rick.
Oh, I was just saying, I've been waiting for this because, of course, being a bit of an editor and videographer there for so many years, and also doing the show, basically, I'm like, dude, sorry, look up to you, man. I mean, you got some good work there.
Thank you. Awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Everything that I've seen on this last season of Ghost Hunters, I've been just like, oh, what an awesome shot. And there's so many of them too.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we got to go to some pretty awesome locations. So,
as a cinematographer and a director, I mean, you guys shoot hours and hours, days of footage. How are you able to condense that down into like a 1 hour episode?
Well, for us, when we're in the field, we film pretty much a whole week at a location, and then for us, we actually send the footage back, and then they work at it in Los Angeles for months and months. So I think our ratio is quite a bit. It's probably close to like a few hundred hours to that 40 minutes. We shoot a lot.
And some people that are watching tonight, what they may want to know, what is a cinematographer?
Director of photography, cinematographer. I'm in charge of the whole look of a show or any kind of project that I get hired on. So I implement the cameras, I implement the style, I implement the overall look of the show. So anything related to camera or anything that has to do with anything being shot goes through the director of photography.
Very important job.
Yes.
You got to make everybody look good, make the episode look good. So you're doing some work with Wicked Tuna. I think in the past you did, what was it, Ghost Brothers too, right?
I did. I did Ghost Brothers for a few seasons. I did Wicked Tuna. I did a Netflix show called Battlefish. That was a docuseries that was really fun. I've done Ghost Hunters Academy, Ghost Hunters. I've done Ghost Hunters for the longest time. I mean, that's probably my longest running show that I've ever done.
Now, did you have an interest in the paranormal? I don't know, when you're growing up or something that really drew you to wanting to be a part of a series like that?
Yeah, I did. I had some experiences when I was young. My family and my cousins we always told ghost stories, and I had a pretty profound experience when I moved out of my house and moved to Colorado. I ended up renting a room out of an old hospital, and had some pretty interesting stuff happen there that really got me believing into the paranormal, and eventually perked my interest into applying for the job for Ghost Hunters.
And the rest is history. You've done so many episodes. Is there one favorite that you have, something that you really enjoyed or had an experience?
Yeah, there's so many, but the ones that stand out in my head have to be Waverly Hills. The very first time we went there, right. The Ghost Hunters went there. That was very unique and fun and just grand. The Lighthouse, for the first time. Oh, yeah. I had a nice experience in the Lighthouse when we were filming. I heard my name called out there. And then this season, it would have to be, it'd be Alaska or New Mexico. Those cases were a lot of fun.
Yeah, Fort Stanton. Weren't you over the TV hospital, right?
Yeah, Fort Stanton, which is, it's just next level for a location. It's. I mean, we only showed probably 4 or 5 buildings. I think there was like 25 or 30 on site. So the location is just massive.
Well, I'm in Arizona, and you guys were down in Clifton, right? Wasn't that the first? That was some pretty crazy stuff you guys had down there. Obviously, there was activity.
Yep.
Some of the townspeople was kind of another component of the episodes that you had. Maybe tell us a little bit about how challenging that was, because not only were you dealing with shooting, but there was other element of your safety might have been in question.
Yeah, Clifton was just awesome. That location, it paid off huge for us as far as evidence. That, those light anomalies that we caught there, which I was lucky enough to be with Brian and Brandon in the room when that was happening. I mean, it was just amazing to see that in front of our eyes. manifesting right in front of us on that EMCCD camera. That evidence is probably some of the best paranormal ghostly evidence that I've ever seen personally. So that was really neat to experience there. The town was challenging. It's right off the main street there. It's a busy street, so you have a lot of cars, a lot of traffic, a lot of people. You have multiple locations. That's always tough. The town itself, they welcomed us with open arms, and everybody, the production crew came in contact were just wonderful. I mean, they were just so nice. They, the inn there, the inn just what they made us cookies, and everybody was so nice. But after dark, you have some people that don't like us there because we're bringing some light to the town.
Right.
And sometimes we find that there it was a little more than usual. So us working behind the scenes, shooting B-roll, being out in the town a little more. We're kind of used to getting some pushback and stuff. So it was a little more amped up there, but it was nothing that we couldn't handle.
Yeah, and it's out there. There's not a whole heck of a lot around it. I mean, it's Clifton's kind of by itself on an island. So I know that you guys probably had to travel to find a hotel, or there's not much in the town.
Yeah, I think we stayed like 45 to an hour away. So, we had that commute into work, and man, it was so crazy there. I remember one day going into work, and like, I've never seen anything like it. It's just like the geography of it is it's nestled in the mountains, and just out of nowhere, just we're driving, and just a storm rolls in, and like it starts raining, and then it stops, and just it's charged up, it had a lot of interesting energy to the area.
Well, it's a couple of great episodes. Now, you're also involved in another project called The House in Between.
Yeah,
it was a documentary. I know about it because actually I was there many years ago.
Yeah,
maybe just tell our viewers, tell us a little bit about what made that house so special.
Yeah, so The House in Between, it's a documentary. It's kind of it's a deep look into the lives of some paranormal investigators, and it revolves around a house in Mississippi, and Alice Jackson is the homeowner, and Alice had a profound experience a few years back and moved out of the house because of it. And basically, she handed the keys over to these paranormal investigators to kind of find out what was going on there. And they've been doing a case study for over 10 years now of the house, documenting it. And they had some really great evidence. And I teamed, Steve Gonzalez had visited out at the house and found the house and got out there and did a couple investigations. And then he had said, man, this actually is a really interesting story. And I know Alice, Brad, and John had been talking about a documentary, and everybody started talking documentary. And then sure enough, Steve Gonzalez had called me, and I had just started up my Robot Ninja production company that we got going with my wife, Vera Whelpton. And we talked to Steve about a possible documentary, and Steve sent me some footage and told me some stories about the house, and right away I had realized that there was something unique and different about this place. And it's a new house. It was built in the 90s, so it's kind of interesting that something haunting it of this caliber would be attached or resonating in a place that is new. So we really took the opportunity to do a documentary all the way through point A to point B of just kind of getting into the story and telling it for what it is. And it was something that myself and Steve have always wanted to do. Steve and I worked together for many years on Ghost Hunters, and we hadn't worked together in I think like 3 or 4 years, and Ghost Hunters had gone off the air, and he called me. I jumped at the opportunity to work with him again.
Yeah, I was in the house probably about 10 years ago. When I worked on TV, I was a news anchor down in Jackson, Mississippi. Florence is kind of a suburb, like 40 minutes away. Homeowner Alice, awesome, wonderful
Yeah.
lady. She might be actually watching tonight. I said, hey, send us a note if you'd like to. The one thing I remember about the house was it just had this energy kind of inside of it. As soon as you walk in, I mean, it's a beautiful piece of property. You know, it's like an A-frame house, but it's got the woods all around it. But when you see it, you're like, this place is haunted. I mean, I remember walking in like, what's the big deal that's going on in there? But sure enough, we interviewed Alice. Some things started happening. John Bullard, I believe he was in. He was in the documentary, correct?
Yes, John Bullard.
Yes, because he actually invited me out there with his group, Smoke and Mirrors.
Yeah.
And then Brian Rayleigh, what was his group? The Mississippi like Paranormal Association, something like that.
I believe so. I'm going blank for a moment.
Yeah, that's all right. So I went with those guys. Yeah. Sadly, only got one night. I wish we could have, had a little bit more time. You know, the stuff you guys covered in the documentary about the chandelier with the lights going on and off. I remember Alice told me that obviously back then she wouldn't spend a night in the house. Because of the experience she had with the lights.
Yeah.
Just explain that a little bit. It's just, I guess she said the upstairs bedroom would just kind of glow with these lights.
Yeah. So Alice had many experiences in the house with lights, but the lights that she experienced that she actually made her afraid of and moved out were, she had experience. It was late at night and she had just started to go to bed, and she was in the downstairs bedroom, and she was laying down, and it was almost like a big beam of light came into the room, and she could see through the light, and it was daylight inside. So it was like she could look through, and everything on the other side was in the day. So it was like she was looking through into another dimension or portal, or right. It was clear as day, and everything else in front of her was night. So that freaked her out so much, that profound experience, that she moved out of the house.
And then nobody would really go in the upstairs bedroom too. I think, wasn't there some kind of activity that was happening? Because we did a whole asking some questions with the flashlight and getting responses. Nothing felt like terrifying, but there certainly felt like there was something there, though. I don't know if you felt the same thing.
Yeah, like you said, when I first got to the house, it was day and it was nice, and I was just like, I didn't get the vibe at all, but we had seen so much footage, so I knew, I had known what I was going to be expecting. Once night flipped over and the house kind of took a different feel, it has that creepy factor, but it's still a nice house inside. And for me, I've been in probably 700 different locations and that proposed haunted places. And this one did feel different. It was just a little bit of a different, almost
it's a different vibe, right?
Yeah, and it almost feels like different each day, like almost like something different comes through there every once in a while. I'm not like a sensitive or anything, but yeah, you kind of get that feeling of different vibes throughout the time that I was there.
What about the ball on the stairs? That was some crazy evidence you guys gathered, and it happened many times, from what I understand.
Yeah, I don't want to give away too much in the film, but we have some really great evidence in the film, and anything that physically moves, it's just fascinating. And if you can catch anything, physical manipulation on camera, that is like the holy grail for us, So,
right.
So we're very lucky that those guys have done a really good job documenting the activity in the house with their 24-hour surveillance cameras of the whole place, and their audio and their investigation skills. It's been quite the process for those guys, and my hat's off to them. Really, I did love telling their story because, those guys, nobody gets paid to do this. It's all pro bono. They're doing it out of their hearts, and it's just neat to see what kind of person does that. What is their story, and what's Alice's story, and I really feel like that's what made this documentary different than some of these other films and TV shows out there.
Well, I told her one time back then, and maybe she'll let me do it now, is I said, I just want to spend the night by myself in the house. I'm afraid to scare the hell out of myself probably, but it's like, from all the reports, I just wonder what it would be like, the whole lights and everything like that. Just wonder about where the home is too. I mean, it's piney woods, so when it gets dark out there, you're pretty remote, but Indian burial ground. I mean, who knows what it is? Would you ever go back and do a follow-up documentary, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of stuff that we kind of left out of the film just because we wanted to stick to the main points of the home and kind of follow. What we did with this story is we followed it like a detective story. So we went from one point to the next, just following what the story was telling us. So there was some stuff that happened off camera that, we could probably revisit and see a closer look in. And I think there's definitely room for, a part 2 or another follow-up for sure.
Of course, we're all dealing with the COVID-19 right now, which is probably, obviously it's affecting production of season 3 of Ghost Hunters, which I'm sure you guys are going to be renewed. How do you plan when you're stuck like this? I mean, how do you scout locations? I mean, you're really waiting on people to get healthy again.
Yeah. It's been, along with the rest of America, everybody's on hold. We're on hold as well. It's been very, very tough. I know a lot of the crew really great crew that I've worked with for many years. We're all unemployed right now and just kind of waiting for the next gig. And, for us, for myself and my company, my wife and I are starting to look at other locations, and we're developing some ideas. So yeah, I mean, once this thing lets loose, we'll be able to start filming again, and we'll start hitting some of our ideas, and hopefully making more ghost stuff, because that's what we love doing.
Sweet. First year was great. Second year was awesome. Now the bar is pretty raised to come back even stronger in year 3. Okay, probably Rick. Do you think it's time that we want to switch gears?
Yeah. Before,
can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Kendall, where do we find your documentary?
Yeah, so you can pretty much find the documentary. It's called The House in Between. You can download it on any streaming VOD platform. We're on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, Vudu, Xbox, Vimeo On Demand. If you're overseas, Vimeo On Demand's a good one. And then Sony PlayStation and Fandango now. So all those cool. Amazon and iTunes are the big one. So yeah, check it out. It's a fun watch. I've seen it a ton, and I still like it.
Awesome.
I'd like to watch it again, just to go back. Sometimes you miss something, and then when you see it the second time, you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Of course, we have a remote viewing tonight, a very unique location.
Yep. Before we get to that, I want
go ahead, man. Sorry.
A few little shout outs, basically. We got a whole bunch of folks that I wanted to recognize. We got Rowdy and Courtney and Michelle. I feel like I'm actually in Romper Room.
I know.
Skill.
Happy birthday.
Stephen, who else? My goodness, we got Danny, scrolling through here, Pauline, Jonathan, Dan, Dino, Stephen Woodard. Appreciate all the support from you, brother. See here, Courtney, Mary, Christina. She's in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh wow, cool. What's up?
Aaron Evans, scrolling through here, Dan, Mary, just a whole bunch of Colleen. I've actually tried to give a shout out in the chat if I didn't actually miss your name. So sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling along there, but lots of activity, and appreciate everyone dropping in. Also, and Steve, hadn't had a chance to type to you. saying hi from DGH Steve's Darlington Ghost Hunters. So, welcome.
Cool.
Kat says the documentary was amazing.
Oh, thank you. Awesome.
That. Brad was asking, what's up, Kendall?
Hey, what's up, Brad?
So, got a whole bunch of people. Appreciate all the support. Please share and get the watch parties going for this, because it's actually we'll kick it up a notch, because Darren, I think you had one final, if you want to call it that.
Yes, I guess this is what we call the bridge in the business, is what this is. No, yes, exactly. So we're going to have a remote viewing with Maryam coming up, and we have a very unique location tonight. It is Chernobyl. Site of the worst nuclear disaster back in 1986. Kendall, just curious, why did you pick that location?
Okay, so I've always wanted to go to Chernobyl to explore. I'm big on urban exploration, doing what I do, going into some of the biggest abandoned buildings in the world. And, that is one city that, unfortunately was tragically struck by the nuclear disaster. So there's probably a lot of activity there, along with exploration. I've always been curious about the surroundings, and I have questions about what the animals are like there now, with some of the nuclear reacting to the animals, if they're 7-foot wolves, and just some of the things you might encounter there. So when I do go there someday, I can be prepared. So
very cool.
Awesome.
All right.
As usual, I'm going to get some sharing of some footage there, basically just to kind of help everyone watching, not necessarily for Miriam's benefit. She has her own process with this, but yeah, exactly. And she has some images to look at, and we'll get everything started here.
So, can I start, Rick?
You certainly may.
Before we start, Kendall, there's a little boy that hangs out with you. I don't know if it's related to Chernobyl or if it's just someone that has been with you for a while. He's saying that you at some point were related. There was a connection. I don't know if he's referencing this lifetime or another, but this little boy is when the time is right, you'll be asked to help him move on. Okay. That'll be something personal with you and him. And not much more I need to delve into, since it's between the two of you and you guys have your connection from another lifetime. So
does he want to does he want to be let go right away, or is he liking where he's at?
He feels very safe with you because of you got. I'm not sure if you were his father or uncle, but it's one of those two. You could have been an uncle that played the father figure. He feels very safe with you. He didn't leave when the two of you were supposed to separate. He wasn't ready to leave you. Is this anything this lifetime?
I've had a psychic tell me that before, but I don't. It's not popping as far as a relationship of mine.
Nothing. Oh, nothing this time. Okay.
Not this time, no.
Okay, so it's that lifetime was really sad. It was just you two died together, and it was really painful. But you made a promise to him. There was like war or chaos or something that was happening, and you promised him that you two would stay together, and so he stuck to that promise that you made. I'm having a hard time really communicating it because there's so much love there. It feels like this lifetime. It's so heavy it's really heavy, but it's also really sweet. Just start to acknowledge his presence, and see where it takes you. I feel like it's your experience to have. I feel like I'm intruding a little bit. And so I don't want to interfere, because this is about your love and your connection and relationship. And you will see that play out as necessary. He is of no harm. It is purely love. And so you guys can work that out as needed. He may just stay with you this lifetime. And honestly, it's okay.
Okay. Do you have a name?
The first thing that I heard was Christopher.
Christopher. Okay.
I don't know that that's necessarily right.
Okay.
But that was, as soon as you asked, it's like I heard it before you said it.
Gotcha.
He's about 3, 4 years old. 3 to 7, they're saying, and he still holds your hand. Like it's like you guys died holding hands. Like it's so heartbreaking. It's so sad. But I'm just glad he's with you. I've never really said that before, but he feels so safe with you. So yeah.
Wow.
All right. Any other questions with that?
No. I'll respect that for sure. That's very. I have a big heart, so I have some room over here for a little boy like that.
Good. And you can always reach out to me if something comes up or you feel like you need to communicate with him. But I always tell people, when you have situations like this, it's about you, trusting you and listening to you and your intuition. I can always help, but I really want people to use this opportunity to be able to learn, hear psychically for themselves and trust their intuition. You don't need my confirmation that you felt him or heard him or whatever that was. It is very real, but if needed, I'm here.
Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure. Okay. So on to some more, that was actually very light filled. This is going to be a little darker.
Oh boy. Okay.
All right. So here we go. I'm just scrolling through right now to see. We know Darren, we had talked about just that this is notoriously haunted, obviously, right?
Well, yeah. So, when it happened back in April 26th of 1986, there was a terrible fire, and there was 50 to 60 people immediately tried to put out the fire. They all perished. And then pretty much because of radioactivity, people had to leave. And it's uninhabited today, and matter of fact, it will remain that way for at least 20,000 years. So the video that we're seeing are these abandoned structures, apartments, iconic image. Go ahead. Do you feel anything about an amusement park by chance?
So children are so heavy. The children. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to, because this is why it's fascinating. This is why we ask why Kendall chose this location, because children are who are communicating with me right now. There's so many children that are angry. They're not scared. They're mad. It's like they're saying to me, they're mad at these adults. They're mad that someone let this happen. They're mad because this could have been stopped. This could have been controlled. And these children are like, it's kind of fascinating because they've band together and they're like, we aren't leaving until this is healed, until this area of the planet is healed. We are not leaving. And so, as I always tell people, I always gravitate towards light because that's my training, and I will, walk over to some darkness as things progress. But right now, I will gravitate towards light, which is these children that are so angry and are just there to voice their they're just kind of repeating themselves, that this shouldn't have happened, that these adults should have known better. So they watch over this place now, and they are not leaving until this place comes back. Although they're saying that this may never actually well, that's interesting. I'm going to say something not to freak everyone out, but they're saying if this planet even survives long enough for Chernobyl to heal and be able to have humans, live there again, they're saying they don't even know that our planet will survive that long, because there's the level of destruction that humans have created it's just piling on top and on top and on top of each other. this was horrific, but what we continue to do is just as bad. So I'm going to ask them to kind of to take me around. And the question was a Ferris wheel. Is that what you said, or
Well, there was an amusement park. Yeah, there's an iconic
amusement
image
park?
of a Ferris wheel that I believe it was getting ready to open. It did not open. It was supposed to be for the
Oh,
families
there
and
it
the
is.
There it
children.
is. It's right on the camera right now.
Got
So
it.
maybe
Off
when
to
you're
the
talking
right
about
there.
the anger, I wonder if the kids are angry because it's like we were looking forward to enjoying ourselves at this amusement park, but because of what happened with the reactor, that they never got to enjoy it.
These are children that are hold on. Show me. Where do you want to bring me? They're saying, we don't need to bring you anywhere. Just look. Just look. Everywhere you look is destruction, human destruction. These were children of what I want to, I don't remember. What did they call like the 70s kid, like flower children or
Hippies?
does anyone know, but there's specifically like, anyway, I can't think of the word, but they're saying like these are like children of God, if you will. These were all children that were very evolved, very spiritually elevated, that were in body for the moment when this happened, because their job was to stay and protect the land after this happened. So this isn't about children being mad that they couldn't live out their lives. These are spirits that came in a body for this experience, knowing they were going to die young, and knowing they were going to go through this experience because it was the only way it could bring them to this location together, to band together and to watch over it and protect it from anything else happening. They're also saying they're trying to protect it. They don't want humans coming through. They don't like that humans come through and that there's human contact there. They need, it's like they're saying the earth is literally heated there, you know, like that you could physically touch and feel the heat coming from the land there. And they just want people to stop. They're saying, like, imagine if you had a burn and every day you just rubbed that burn, rubbed that, and just never left it alone to heal. They're saying that's what needs to happen here. It needs to be left alone to heal.
So we got one question. This is interesting from Anne LaBelle. It says, are the kids that are there speaking in English, or do you understand their language? Of course, this was the former Soviet Union. So in spirit world, from my experience, there is no language barrier. So they're speaking in a form that it's obviously English. Yes. To answer your question, it's English, but that barrier doesn't exist. Anything with any of the adults? I mean, they said that 60 people we know died because of the disaster, but back in 2005, the UN predicted that 4,000 might eventually die because of the radiation exposure. They probably had leukemia or cancer. Anything coming through as far as those individuals trying to reach out to you? Any of these people that not necessarily died there, but could have been a year, 5 years, 10 years later? Yeah, there's this one, there's this woman, and there's this man. There's actually a ton of these adult spirits that are walking with their head down, and they're pacing, and they're stuck. They were really sick, obviously. It doesn't take a psychic for that. And they're saying that there was so much confusion. There was so much confusion on how to manage it, why it happened, what to do with it, and how to heal these people. The confusion came from the fact that there were no answers, and there was no resolution, and there was no cure. And so people just laid and suffered and suffered and suffered. And now these grounds, there's this combination. So over here, we've got these children of God, I'll say, that are, again, those light-filled beings that knew they were going to come into body, have this experience, and then stay and watch over the land and protect. And then over here, over this land,
you have all these adults that are pacing, not obsessively, they're just walking through, um, because they're so, what's the matter? What's the matter? Why would you, after everything you endured, why would you stay here? There's this commitment to their country. I'm committed to my country, and I'm committed to these people that I was housed with that were dying with me. And I'm just not ready to leave them. This is a gentleman about 70 years old, 7 foot, almost 7 feet. He was saying when he was in body, he was unusually tall, he's saying. And he was just surrounded by other people that were dying. And he feels this commitment to country and to those that he died with. There's this woman, about 50 years old. She was a little mother, stay-home mom. Evelyn, she's saying, little and kind of stocky, shorter. And she's saying, I'm staying here because people need me. People need me. Evelyn, people don't, unless you want to stay and work with these children, people no longer are needing assistance. These spirits that are here are very much isolated into themselves. They aren't looking for assistance. Why are you still here? Why are you here? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Why are you not moving on? I don't know where to move on to, she says. I don't know, where do you go from here? How do you experience something like this and want to move on or ever come back to something like this? I feel like if I just stay, then I won't have to experience such horror again. This is a longer conversation with Evelyn that maybe I'll do offline. I want to help her understand how spirit works, and that her suffering is not necessary and is not going to stop or prevent more suffering for herself or anyone else. Evelyn, I'll come back.
Are you able to connect her with the children? Maybe she could be a mother figure of some sort, or is there a nanny figure that we could team up? Are we able to team up the kids with somebody? I feel like they need somebody.
It's a good question. The kids are saying, don't underestimate our powers. We came in stronger than adults, but they're needing, I'm following what you're saying, that they need assistance. So I'm going to go back and explain, because they, as soon as you said that, they chimed in and said, we know better. We came in stronger than the adults. Okay, I agree, but there's also this sense that you guys could use support from adults. They're saying they'll take whatever support they get. Evelyn has her head down, and she isn't ready or willing to see anything else around her, or anyone else around her. She's not there yet. I'm looking through the people I'm walking through to see if we can find a connection. Oh, that gentleman. He says, I'll help them. I'll connect with them. I'll go over there. Okay, so that would be so amazing, considering that was why you're still here, is because you didn't want to leave those that were suffering with you. Can we break this divide that's there right now? There's like this divide with the kids over here. He's saying those kids. Who asked me that question? Was that you, Kendall?
Yeah, that was me.
He's saying, so as soon as you asked that, I felt the kids, and they were like, because I resonate with their light, and so I felt them immediately, kind of their shackles went up, and they're like, dude, you guys messed this up. We've got it. We're smarter than you. But I want to kind of bring that down a minute, because Kendall's right. There's going to be the need for more support, and wise support. This is a gentleman. What's your name? I don't understand it. It's funny that one question we had earlier, right, was what language are they speaking in? And I said, there is no barrier. I understand spirit only. He said his name, and I can't understand him because he said it with a very, very thick accent. So we have a little, everything else I understand, it's just not his name. Okay. He says it starts with an E. Okay. So do you mind if I call you Eric for now? It says that's fine. So if you can lift your head, because all you adult spirits are walking like this, you're beat down. I understand you're just destroyed. I get that. Look up right over here. You've got this whole group of children. He says, I know they're there. I've approached them before. They're upset. Okay, so why don't we have a little intervention? Kendall, are you feeling anything else? Are you feeling a connection to these kids where you can maybe talk to them and ask them to be open to Eric going over?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel a connection, but it hurts my heart to know that kids are in a bad place there. So yeah, I mean, if you can just see Eric over there. How tall is Eric?
He's really tall. He's like almost 7 foot.
What's he look like?
Darkish hair, light skin.
So there's a gentleman with light skin and dark hair. He's gonna help you, kids. I need you to go and talk to him, and he's gonna chaperone you, and he's gonna look after you, and he's gonna protect you. There's no need to wander around in this place anymore. You do need to go and move on. I mean, this is no place for you to be. You belong somewhere where there's golden light. So that's where you belong. He's going to help you go there. Does that work?
That does work.
Okay.
So how are we feeling over here? They're open. Eric, you're open. Hold on. He's moving closer to this divide that's here. Okay. I understand. I understand. I understand. The children are saying that it's important that we understand that these are free will choices that they're making. They're not in suffering mode. They're in healing mode. And they'll love to have Eric if he's in healing mode, not suffering mode. Eric is not suffering. His heart hurts from the pain and suffering he experienced, but he's not stuck in suffering. He is open and looking to heal. So cross this divide. You guys want to talk to me about this divide over here and over there? Why do we have this like line in the sand? Because they're stuck in suffering and they're not able to move out of that and make a change. Okay, so Eric, he says, how does it feel, Eric, to not be looking down anymore? How does it feel to hold your head up and experience light beings and no longer experience that darkness? He says, you do. He has a responsibility. You're right. He understands his role as spirit is to be of service. You're right. Okay, so I'm going to let those guys work that out. That connection has been made thanks to Kendall, and that work is going to be done. Where else can we travel? Is there another specific location?
Maybe the core.
The actual where the guy that kind of was the fall guy for it was Anatoly Stepanovich Dyatlov. It was two guys that were jailed because of what happened. They were blamed for the disaster. Dyatlov was eventually released from prison, but he died in 1995 because of radiation sickness. I'm just curious, the people that were there, when it happened, if they have any guilt, or I'm not sure if your guides can connect with them, but that was the first thing I thought. If there was regret, if they could go back and change something, or they were sorry for what happened.
I'm picking up on the first guy you said. What was the other one's name?
Well, it's Anatoly Stepanovich Dyatlov. He was the guy that was kind of the director. He was the deputy chief engineer, supervisor of the catastrophic safety test, which resulted in Chernobyl. So everything was pretty much his call. And I just was wondering if he's trapped there. I mean, like I said, he died in 1995, but when something happens like that, I can imagine you're responsible for so many deaths and all this heartache and pain for all those souls that maybe he'd like to say you're sorry.
Oh, I don't know if this is him I'm tapping into right now, but there is some other energy that is, oh man, dark, vindictive, knew exactly what he was doing, doesn't feel any guilt. And I keep smiling because I'm feeling that's one of those evil smiles. Like, I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do. Say his first name again for me.
Anatoly Stepanovich Dyatlov. I don't know Russian, but that's about as good as I can do. Anatoly, I believe that looks about right. Stepanovich.
Is this you that I'm connecting with? Is that you? Could be. Okay. So I've got an entity. I'm not really sure if it's him, but I've got an entity that's was a part of it, and is super. He's not demonic. He's just a dick. I mean, just like, no, just could care less. What? Tell me, why do you hang out? Why are you here? What do you care? Why are you here? I'm proud of the work that I've done for this country. You don't see that you were a part of this destruction. He says, I don't see that as being my fault. I see that as just the way you do business. It's what happens. Things happen. Do you not see what you do you not see what happened? Like, are you what? I'm not understanding why you're so flippant. I'm not flippant. I'm not flippant. It is what it is. Business is what it is. We do what we need to do to make money, and that's the way it's always going to be. It's not,
Wow.
but okay. You've got my attention. What is it that you want to talk about? How do you feel about all of this? I don't care. People die all the time. Why is this such a big deal? Why? What mistakes happen all the time? Okay. Not like that, but have you done things like this before? Yeah. Okay, slow down. I can't keep up with him and ask my own questions. Hold on. Mafia, drugs, that's where I come from. That's the life I lived. I don't care. Why aren't you passed on? Why are you still here? That's what I want to know. I'm guessing that you won't go over to the other side because you know you're going to be screwed when you do. And he says, I'm sorry, I shouldn't challenge him. I'm not getting emotional. He's telling me, why are you getting emotional? I'm not getting emotional. I'm not getting heated. I'm meeting you at your level. You're a cocky asshole, so I'll be that way back. Okay? Why? How do you look at all of this and are okay with all of this? Even if you've been in the mafia and you've seen drugs and you've seen crime, and you've seen all of that, why does this not affect you? You don't mind that the loss of all these children? And he says, no. Okay, we've covered that. Why aren't you passing over? That's where I was at with you. I don't think anything's going to happen to you if I pass over. Why don't you then? I don't want to. I like staying here. I like seeing the work that I've done. It's weird. That's odd. I mean, I think that's a little much, don't you think? I mean, you just enjoy watching that this place stays. He says, I like the fact that no one else can come onto this land, and it's just mine now. It's not yours, just so you know. You can feel like it's yours, but it's not yours. You'll be removed when the time's right. I'm not going to remove you. I don't care that much about you to remove you, and there's nothing you can do here. You can't hurt anybody here. This is actually an ideal place for you to hang out. It's pretty much hell. So you can hang here all you want, but know that someone will come in and remove you when it's time to heal this planet.
If I could slip in a question real quick,
Yeah.
Kristen Thompson, and this might, maybe whoever this is would answer it. Why hurt so many people? She asked, and what did they do to him? So this spite that this anger that he's carrying, that's why is he being the way he is?
Just for the record, I'm going to answer that. For the record, this smile is his. It's not mine. He's not in my body, but it's just that evil grin. I'm trying to stop it, but I can't. It's his. Now, one more time with the question.
Let's see if I can. Here we go. Why hurt so many people? What did they do to him? So it's like, like you said, he's an asshole pretty much. So why is he picking on him?
Listen, I didn't intentionally do this. This didn't intentionally happen. This wasn't, I never planned on burning this country down. That's not what this is about. That wasn't my intention. It was a mistake that people made. I won't say who, and I won't take responsibility. It was a mistake. And what are you going to do? Mistakes happen. It happened all the time before. But you kill the wrong person. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's just the way it is. It's not, about why am I happy about this? It just happens. So what? Things happen. This is not me, by the way. This is him. I do not take responsibility for this conversation. So he doesn't, this is me now. He doesn't view this as his, like, he's not seeing it like, ha ha ha, I killed all these people. This is great. He's just like, it was an accident. What are you going to do? It's happened before. I've killed the wrong person before. People have been in the wrong place at the wrong time before. It happens. Let it go. That's what he's saying. He's not viewing it like, and he said, I didn't intentionally mean to kill all these people. It was an accident. Accidents happen. He's saying it like he spilled his water bottle. It happens. What are you going to do?
I'm just curious, that he's supposed to be such a badass kind of gangster, kind of Russian mafia. Could this have been somebody that was a scientist, but then when they die, take on another form, their spirit, that they wanted to be something else that they weren't in their regular life? That this could be somebody pretending to be somebody? That's what I'm curious. No,
he's not pretending. He's very clear about who he is and what he wants. What I can't answer is if it's the exact gentleman whose name you said. I don't know if that's who I'm speaking with, but I am speaking with someone who was involved.
And no regrets, no remorse.
Does he have a message for us? Maybe we could research something. Maybe some of the viewers here and myself can research his message, or a family member or something.
It didn't happen the way it was reported. There was one person in particular that it was a person on a lower end, someone who had a role that wasn't very high up, who made a mistake. None of this was intentional. It was a list, like a step-by-step of just one bad, and then mistake after the next, after the next. But it was not how it was reported. And here's the interesting thing about this energy. This energy is very honest. He doesn't care who or what or why. He doesn't care. He's got his world, he's living in it, and no one's going to remove him. Okay, it's actually the safest place for him to live is there in hell, because nobody else is there. He can't touch these children that we've spoken with. They're too light filled. They have angels over them. They're fine. This guy he thinks he has control over his destiny. He thinks he has control over what he's experiencing right now, but he doesn't. He's trying to. He doesn't like that I'm saying that. You have to understand that you don't have the control you think you have any longer. So what message would you like to get out? You said the reporting didn't happen. It didn't happen the way it was reported. There was one person, lower end of the totem pole, that started off this string of bad events that led to this. And it was actually, he says, that's why. I was you can do it. I was thrown in jail or punished. That's the word. Sorry. I was punished, and I wasn't the one that flipped the switch. He's saying that, like, quote unquote, I wasn't the one that flipped the switch. Understand, I'm not going to try and explain anything to this guy. He's not going to get it other than this. Understand, just because you weren't the one that flipped the switch doesn't mean you weren't responsible for the whole chain of events. I'm getting heated. No, he's never going to take responsibility. So let's move. Okay, you're never going to take responsibility, but know that he's not the one that flipped the switch, and all the people that got in trouble ultimately, really, it was someone else. But here's the thing to clarify, coming from me, is that these people that spun off this and started this string of bad events, they didn't mean to. They didn't know better. They didn't have the guidance. He's trying to intervene. They didn't have the guidance. They didn't have the knowledge. No one. It was very corrupt. And so these people did things they didn't mean to do. And so you have these lower end employees that were involved that technically did, as he says, flip the switch, but they didn't know better. They didn't have harm in mind. It wasn't about that. You had your opportunity to talk. So you can, that is the truth. I work with my beings and they're explaining to me what happened. You had your time to share your version of the story. And trust me, you were very honest about it. We all understand your perspective, but that's not all. There's two sides to every story. And these poor people were just, the suffering they experienced emotionally of knowing what happened is just so much. But fortunately, their angels swept them up and took them to the other side. You're stuck here. You might say you like it, but you're screwed, because when this time comes and all our beings come down to clear this planet, especially this specific area, you're screwed. So enjoy the time you have here in hell. God, sorry. Are we still here? Am I still with you guys?
No, you're still here. He's not a very good person. I mean, he's not a very good. And it sounds like this individual couldn't have stopped it because of the string of errors from the lower level. I mean,
he's like, you know,
he's like, what the hell? I'll kill 4,000 people. They'll get cancer eventually.
He's
and die.
like, I could have. He said, listen, the struggle to the work to stop it, it would have cost so much money. It would have set off too many red flags. It just wasn't worth it. I mean, you guys know, just for the record, they don't understand you, because he's like, you get it. It's like, sometimes it's better to just kind of let it play out. No one agrees with that, but that's what he's saying. It was gonna cost too much. It was actually better off that it went this way. That's his version of it.
Wow.
Oh, that's
he's fun.
Terrible. I mean, that's just no words, really.
Wow.
Well, with about 3 minutes left before we wrap up, probably Maryam, let you disconnect, and then we can kind of process. So Kendall, basically, every single one of these remote viewings is basically like this. In the sense there hasn't been a single one that's just been like, oh, we're just kind of walking through the meadows, the quiet little brooks. And there's always like uncovering this crazy secret, this like it's fascinating.
Well, I've never experienced anything like that, and that was pretty heavy. I appreciate it. It was very, very fascinating. Very fascinating. So
yeah, and I think it's important. Rick and Darren know I always talk about this. I love that you followed your feeling, Kendall, even though I feel like what you felt was intuition when you said these children need some sort of support. That was your intuition. And I think that I'm so glad you acted on that and said it and didn't refrain from speaking, because it's a collective effort. When we do these remote viewings, we're looking to heal and help. Everyone, all of us play a role in it. So it's so important that everyone speaks up, because I don't know everything and I'm not covering everything. And I connect with certain energies different than you will, and Rick will, and Darren will. So that was really cool. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, all the best for those children. I can only imagine what that was like, and it must have been awful. And I just hope peace for them. I really do.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be praying for them tonight.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Such a huge area. I'm sure we just touched on, basically.
I think we did. I saw that footage playing over. Thanks for adding that, because that added to the visual of it. That was very interesting to see.
Absolutely. Well, hey, with just about a minute we have left, Kendall, I mean, what can folks basically? I think we mentioned where you can find the documentary. What else are you up to, basically, where folks could follow you and find out what's going on with you and new projects?
Yeah, so The House in Between, if you're just catching it now, that's our documentary. You can catch it on all VOD, video on demand places like iTunes, Amazon. So yeah, check that out. Ghost Hunters, you can watch some reruns of that on the A&E app probably, or if you got it DVR'd or whatever. Season 3, we're waiting patiently for that. Let's see, I got some projects coming up. You can stay connected with me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. So Kendall Whelpton, yeah, check it out.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I was
Bye,
awesome.
Kendall.
Bye, Maryam.
Nice meeting you. Thank you, Kendall. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. That was very fun.